Step into the ring, it's Monday Night Fire. My rhymes burning hotter than a funeral pyre. I'm the heavyweight champ, you can call me sire. Reviewing raw like a southern rap messiah. Crossing over lines like I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Flipping opponents like I'm Randy Orton. Dirty South flow, my words they be costing. Every verse I drop got them head nodding. Spit lyrical punches like a ruthless fighter. Got the crowd hype, I'm the crowd igniter. Breaking down the raw matches, no denier. Dirty style rap, I'm the Monday night supplier.
What is up, window lickers, grunts, friends, my friends, any chaos goblins? How are you doing? It's a Monday, and the trio is back in town. Am I right, guys?
We're back, baby.
Yeah,
we're
back.
here.
We're back
We're
like
live.
a dinosaur story.
That is true. We're also back like an Eagles running back who just
Who they wouldn't allow to break the rushing record.
wow, yeah. Well,
It was
Sa-
strategic. It was
Sa-
strategic to keep him healthy.
I know why they did it. I just don't like it.
I don't like
I
it
get
either because Saquon, I think he deserved that. I think that
Mhm.
was something that would have really just made the Giants punch themselves. Maybe, maybe one of them cries in the shower because they know what they destroyed. Because Saquon Barkley just proved that he is one big motherfucking beast. And that was impressive. I enjoyed it. That was the first Eagles game I've actually ever enjoyed. I guess just because they were thumping on
It was
the
probably the Packers.
yeah.
It
I mean,
really
that,
had nothing to do with the Eagles. did
yeah,
it?
absolutely not. It could have been the Oilers, the Houston Oilers going in there, and I would have been perfectly fine. But outside of that, look at that. We already got people jumping in. We got the boss himself letting us know time to talk some Monday Night Raw. That is
Sure
true.
is.
And we got the one, the only Annie O'Neill. Giants are slaying every day.
They
Ain't
sure are.
that the truth? And then I think this one. We got Cheryl. She's watching. All right. Gave the old piece. All right, guys. So how has it been? Kevin, it's been a minute since you've been on the show. How have you been? Give the fans an update. What's going on with you, buddy?
I'm good. I was really just on holiday. So
Yeah.
it ended up being because I was down south actually visiting that same commenter who is my mother. And our longtime viewer, Ken Alice, which is my father. We went down to, me and Annie went down to Florida to visit them and do Disney. So we did Epcot and Animal Kingdom, which was really nice. It was a great time. Then we came back, and when you guys came back, it was actually directly on Annie's birthday. So I was like, well, I'm not going to work on Annie's birthday. I actually didn't even go into like the day-to-day job on Annie's birthday. We spent it all day together doing things.
Look at that. Little romance.
It was a
there.
great day,
Aw.
but I'm ready to come back and talk some Raw.
Well, that's exciting because
let's do
we're
it.
glad to have you back because it was just me and Grun last week, and we did good. We did our thing, but it didn't feel right without you.
It's just not as chaotic. So
it's definitely not as chaotic. No, and there's not
think
enough
of all the quips that I missed.
exactly.
Yes.
I mean, I think our fans they thoroughly missed it. Grun. It's
Yes.
actually been only more than 24 hours since I've seen your blue-eyed villainess. How are you doing, my friend? It was a Monday at work. I know you hate your job, just like 98% of Americans out there.
Yeah. It was a Monday at work, but I mean, Eagles won. But
Okay, we can get over that.
Hold on, like as nice as it is, as glad as I am the Eagles won. I don't feel confident with these playoffs because Eagles have not had a pretty win at all this season. So it's going to be ugly the entire playoffs for the Eagles. I'm pretty confident that if they have to play the Lions are fucking them in the ass hard.
Whoa. Wow,
I
coming out the gate in the first 5
You know what?
minutes.
I also think there's another one that the Eagles don't want to see before that, and that's the Vikings. They really want the Rams to beat the Vikings.
Yeah.
Because
well, that's
Eagles,
going to be
the Eagles have struggled. The Eagles have an excellent defense, like such a good defense.
Oh, yeah.
well, that O line is top tier right now for this season.
and that
They're
Yeah.
top tier.
their line and their defense is incredible. And that's taking nothing away from Saquon Barkley, who is a top tier, like once in a lifetime running back. But that O-line has indeed assisted him get to that point too.
Very true.
Mhm.
I'm not
Very
saying
true.
he couldn't do stuff without it, but he's getting more because of it. And
Yeah.
the biggest thing I think the Eagles don't want to see is the Vikings, because they don't want to face another good defense.
Yeah.
Want to see the Rams, because if the Rams can get through the Vikings, I think the Eagles are going to destroy the Rams.
I personally do not think the Rams are getting past the Vikings. I think
I
the
also don't
Vikings-
think that, but that's what they want. That's what you would want to hope for.
Oh yeah, exactly. And honestly, coming from a guy who would give up his firstborn for a decent O line, that's what I'm going to rely on for the Eagles. That O line. There's only one guy who is under 6'6" and under 300 pounds, and it's the center. To me, that's a force. And if you have Saquon, who has never had a line like that, to be able to open up holes for him and get him into those spots, Saquon has a lot left in the bag. And I think the Eagles could get a Super Bowl on Saquon's back this year. I know the Lions are scary as fuck. I've seen them all season. And the Vikings themselves, they're scary on the field too. But there's just something about Saquon that is just telling me this might be his year to just make it extremely. Oh God, we already got the Eagles people in the chat being gross.
Hey.
What's up,
Hey.
Lou? Let's go, birds. All right.
I truly do think it is between a couple teams going there. This Buffalo is looking incredible, but they've looked
Mhm.
incredible in the past and lost anyway.
Yeah.
I
Buffalo
unfortunately
is-
can never count out KC.
Yeah.
Baltimore
Hey,
Ravens have some of the most explosive offense that you can get behind, between the trucks, the human truck stick that is Derrick Henry
That's true.
and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Josh.
It's a very interesting year.
What are you,
It
like
is.
an elementary girl talking to me there, Lou? Joshy.
Joshy.
Hey, it is worth noting that while KC is still dominant, they're not quite playing like they did last season.
They aren't.
So
And I
it
think
couldn't-
that's the issue in their armor, is that they can't beat people by more than like 3 points.
yeah.
I agree with you guys there. All right. So let's get out of that gridiron gang and let's get into some Monday Night Raw. We are officially 51 minutes outside of the window before we go live to Raw. And that Raw is on Netflix now. Fellas, we're on Netflix. We're going to
Yeah, we
open up this show with the general topic, and then we're going to get into your guys's. So general topic. What was everybody's overall feelings towards that Raw on Netflix? And B, is there anything that you didn't like? Is there something you might want to tweak to it? And then if you have anything else to add on to that, this is the time to officially get all of our in your house, the Monday night window lickers thoughts and stuff out about this. I know, Grun, we covered a little bit of what we speculated last week, but let's cover what we've seen and what we're expecting from this new landscape for WWE.
Well, I think it is worth noting before we mention anything else is that last week's Monday Night Raw is not going to be the every week Monday Night Raw. It was very much they only focused on what stories they need to focus on, and the focus was entirely on the matches. Just so any stories being told, it was strictly from told between the starting bell and the ending bell. After that, that is why we didn't see The Rock attack Cody or talk really hard smack on Cody or anything.
Or is it a setup from The Rock?
It could very well be a setup. It could absolutely be a setup. There are talks apparently now that they've completely scrapped the Rock versus Cody storyline. But I mean, like, who knows? Who really knows with that? But I can't say there was anything I really didn't like, because like I said, the focus was completely on this being the first Raw on Netflix. They wanted to celebrate that, push that so much more than advancing storylines. Granted, they finished some storylines, or at least finished chapters on some storylines.
That's true. I mean, they did. For me, they showed me that they knew that it was the very first show on Netflix had to be something. I mean, that's obvious. It was a spectacle, but it also showed me what they can do camera wise, what they can do production wise, what they can do bringing out emotion wise, because people were going nuts for this. This was an event. This was almost like a PLE, and I would say it was like maybe one of their big four too. It was up to that caliber because people were excited about it for it being the first one, and there was a lot of things that they threw curveballs at us. The Rock, the most important thing, with him coming out, and acknowledging Cody in a positive way. We've seen this whole thing of The Rock beating the ever-living shit out of Cody, and then to go to the positive. Kevin, where were you at on your insight on Raw there?
I thought it was a pretty incredible Raw. But that being said, I think a lot of fans hyped it up so much in their head, and they forgot it's still a week-to-week show. So, like, I saw a couple comments come in, like, oh, the matches weren't as exciting, which is they're TV matches. Oh, they're there isn't as many matches on the card or anything along those lines. They were trying to set up more things. That's how Raw has always been run. So I do understand it, because I think a lot of people were like, oh, they're loading up this card. It's going to be all wrestling. It's going to be all this stuff. But Raw, realistically, if you're looking at it time to time, if you're looking at it hour by hour, and you're looking at it minute by minute, and how many matches and how much in-ring time you actually get, it was about standard, maybe even a little more. Because there's commercials, there's promos, there's backstage vignettes, there's all of these things. And especially on a first Raw going to a new platform, they want, when the execs are in the audience, because the execs were in the audience.
Yes, they were.
You want to give them every star you've ever built. That's why we saw Rock. That's why we saw Cena. That's why we saw Taker. That's why we saw Hogan from a bygone era. All of these legends got trotted out so that they can show the Netflix people anything can happen and any star could show up at any time. Now that they've proven that, we're going to get closer to what we've been getting for Raw. More story-driven things, probably a little bit more matches, but not too many more matches. And it's going to go from there. So I truly do understand people wanted it to be like, I thought the matches themselves were pretty close to PLE quality, except they were a little bit shorter. So they kept them more succinct, which I didn't hate, especially for some of the matches, specifically Drew and Jay, because they left more meat on the bone. So I get where they were coming from, but you have to remember this wasn't a PLE. It's not a PLE, no matter how much you thought it was in your head or how much you built it up in your head. It was still day-to-day TV. Just happened to be the first time they went to Netflix.
No, and you're 100% correct on that. And what I really liked what you pointed out with the execs are in the audience. And Nick, I'm almost terrified to question what the hell is this about. Josh, I expect a full-on Triple H type entrance the next time. Okay, I don't know what you need me to do, but there's a lot.
Boys, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, if I have to spit the water, I need to Gallagher proof the studio. Okay, yeah, all right. But outside of that, I love what you brought up though, because that was so smart of them to bring, because it does, and that puts more in a perspective of why the Hall of Famers were there, and to show that generational wise, look what this crowd does. Look who they pop for. Look what excites them. And guess what, guys? We have that anytime we want. All we got to do is dial a number. We can have one of those guys appear on any of these Raws that you want. I love that, Kevin. Great insight. Great just perspective, man. I love it. Grun, let me ask you a question, though, my friend. Does this new venture in Netflix give us anything that we can digest with the Wyatt family?
I think so. I think the bigwigs at Netflix, it does sound like there's one or two that have a lot of pull in Netflix that understand pro wrestling and know what it can be worth. So unfortunately, they're going to have to show that to the rest of Netflix and make them understand, like, no, guys, like, this may be hokey and silly stuff, but these fans love it. This audience loves this hokey, silly stuff.
Okay.
I guess part of me is now thinking and hoping that maybe this inspires their writers to come up with something more unique, something more original in writing, and just like we know the Brothers of Destruction Kayfabe Story TV series is coming out on Netflix, and it's going to be hokey, it's going to be silly, it's going to be ridiculous, it's going to be, it's probably going to have some stupid moments, but at the same time, I think we're all going to watch it, at least to find out, is it going to be worth watching in any sense?
No, I agree with you on that. And let me ask you, Kevin, do you think this allows WWE to kind of pick up that fumble with the Wyatt family? I mean, I'm going to speak for myself. I feel that they fumbled it. I feel that they introduced this whole magic thing with them, and it kind of took away from the chaos of the Wyatts, the unpredictability to me. I know that with them bringing in the idea of, yeah, we're going to be able to attack and take people out and do all these things and come from different places. Yeah, that's cool and everything, but that's not sustainable in my view. But Kevin, how's your view on that?
Well, to your point, we saw that with the Fiend. At some point, they didn't know what to do with him because there was less and less to do when you were, the boogeyman, when you were Michael Myers, when you were the guy that couldn't be felled. When he got felled, what happened? They didn't know what to do with him now.
No.
So I think the supernatural angle in this day and age is always going to be a harder sell. And the reason that is because there's less people who are going to believe it in general. Yeah. And because like Taker was good at keeping that kayfabe. He was never anyone else. You didn't see it. Like rare gym photos were something people that's like grabbed onto. I remember seeing like, oh, Taker's working out in the gym. Look at it. He's outside of his gimmick. Like that was the big thing. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh my God, look, he committed a crime, or, oh my God, look, Taker, is showing up to Wendy's. Like, no, it was never any of that. Yeah. They caught him rarely at the gym, and like that was it. So if you're going to have that level of boogeyman, like it has to have that level of care in and out of the ring. And as far as how they introduced him, I thought they introduced him very supernaturally, and they've been pulling back since then. And I think there's been a disconnect because of it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. And the disconnect being Like, are they supernatural or are they just hurt by by Bray Wyatt being gone? And I think there's an angle for both, but they've been very non-committal so far.
It's almost like you have to pick
one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to have to need him to pick one. I think they're going to end up picking the sorrow-filled one, and I think that has more meat on the bones than supernatural.
I do too.
But it's going to take some rehab to get there. And the Final Testament feud, I think, was not bad. I thought it put more meat on the bones a little bit, but I think it needs to go away. I think it needs to finish so that they can move on to the next thing. And I think the next thing is probably going to be Judgment Day based on Liv Morgan losing that title.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Grun, can we get your last thoughts on this before we move on to Kevin? We're going to give you the next topic.
So I do remember that around the time that it was kind of confirmed that the Wyatt Six was going to come to WWE, it was pretty much confirmed that they were not going to be a supernatural gimmick. Now, I think other stories have taken precedence over the Wyatt Six, so this is part of why they've had to kind of slow down their momentum, which sucks, but at the same time, it's understandable because the Wyatts they've always been a slow burn. Mm-hmm. They're not really something you want to rush into. Last thing I gotta say is I agree. I think the sorrow. I think the evil, spooky, the evil, or not maybe not evil, but the psychotic therapist gimmick direction would be a good way to go with Bray or the Bo Dallas and the Wyatts.
I like it.
Yeah.
And like always, fans, if you know it, you know it. We're going to put a pin in the Wyatt Six and also Netflix or Raw on Netflix because, well, we're getting it weekly now. So we're going to continue the what we like, what we're expecting, maybe what we need a little more of from the Raws on Netflix. So stay tuned for that. And yes, we already got the Lou. He's already got the icon going up for us. Put a pin in it. We got a pin in that one. So Kevin Calloway, the Chaos Goblin, the man that joined us and made us legitimate. How are you doing? And let's hear what you have to talk about.
I'm good. And you know what? I'm gonna talk about some foresight on what's gonna happen tonight, maybe into the future.
Ooh.
I want to talk about one man. I want to talk about Penta El Zero Miedo. It's very, very clear that they are introducing him tonight based on literally his gear and sales going online. It could have. It's almost like they looked at it and they're like, "Well, everyone already knows, so let's make a buck."
It is. It really is, though.
I'm not mad at them.
I'm not either.
No,
I think it's smart business.
Yeah,
but it sounds like he's on a clash. He's in a crash course with Chad Gable, hopefully avoiding the LWO connection, because that I think was the worry for a lot of people, that he would be involved with the LWO. And I think if he was going to face New Day with Rey Mysterio, boy, that would have added a lot of fuel to that fire.
Yeah. I would have been pissing on my television.
Yeah. But if he's just going to face Chad Gable,
I'm there.
I think we're setting him up for something, because Chad Gable can make a broom look good.
That's true. That's true.
And Penta, he's not a fucking broom. He is
exactly.
He is legitimately one of the best luchadors in pro wrestling today.
And it was such a get for WWE to get him. And I'm honestly kind of glad we get him before Rey Fenix. Not because WWE doesn't need tag teams or anything along those lines, but I really want him to establish himself as a singles guy that can go, because eventually, because I know this about WWE, they're going to split people up. They need luchadors, because Rey can't last forever and they got to trot someone else out in a mask. And Dragon Lee hasn't been hitting. At least he hasn't been hitting as well, or maybe they need a booking behind. They need something for Dragon Lee if he's going to be the dude. But Penta has a chance to be the dude anyway.
Yeah.
You can just slot him in. So I guess my question is, and this is just open to the class, just general discussion, How are we going to utilize Penta? What are the feuds you're most excited for? How can we build him up in a way to make him the next Lucha guy?
Well, yeah, go ahead, Grun.
Well, it was pointed out that on social media, Jose the assistant said he got a new suit last week for Monday. And now that is leading me to believe that he will be debuting with Penta as sort of as a translator to fill in for Alex Abrahantes, who I'm assuming has decided to stay with AEW. But this also now makes it a little bit more interesting because those of us that did used to watch AEW, Jose the assistant was an assistant to a specific idolo.
And let's hope that they intertwine that and they keep that going, because if they do, it will look even more like when we first heard this rumor of what we said here, what we want for it. And then Andrade gets his push with a team. Yeah. And what I really like, though, is what Kevin pointed out. What do we know about WWE? They tend to split people up later on down the line. And imagine those three battling for some type of championship, going at it. But the most I'm excited for Penta, Shinsuke Nakamura. I want to see him and Shinsuke just go at it. And because to me, it would give me old Shinsuke. I'm not saying that I do not love what we have right now, but that energy when Shinsuke felt it in the ring, when he knew the match was just something that these fans were witnessing and it was something they're going to be talking about, he stepped it up a level. And Penta's the same type of dude. He's the same type of animal in the ring. So I feel that if you have those two going at it, oh my God, that right there is a PLE. Sign it up. I'm not going to say WrestleMania yet, but I would definitely watch it on a SummerSlam. I would definitely watch it, even at a Royal Rumble, outside of the Rumble.
I think that's a huge matchup they could do. I don't want to throw him right into the world title Wolves.
No.
But I would like to see him quickly ascend the mid card. Wouldn't even mind if he beat Breaker. If they're going to keep him on Raw, I don't mind him being the one to dethrone Breaker. I want to give Breaker a little bit longer of a title run, but I don't mind it being Penta, because then Breaker can naturally ascend up while Penta gets a nice run.
Yeah.
And I think Breaker Breaker before the IC title was probably ready for the world title.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice to keep him away from it for a little bit while everyone else gets a shot.
Very true.
Yeah,
very true.
Let people wait. Let people get thirsty, really hungry for it.
That's the one. Because if they'd have just put him up there, then he has to stay up there in those rings.
Yeah.
But if he works up to it, it'll get people hungry for it. It'll get people thirsty, just like you said. And I agree heavily with that. So I want Penta to stay. I don't want him to stay in the mid card forever, but I want him to have a nice stint at the top of the mid card, just dominating people. Then we'll find someone else to overthrow him and we'll go from there. Because I don't think we're going to get Shinsuke yet, only because he's on SmackDown. And Penta, I think they're going to keep on Raw. But we will get that Shinsuke match down the line.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. But does this mean that there could be a chance that we get Penta in an elimination chamber?
Yes.
I'd be so fucking down for that.
I don't know if we're gonna get it this year, but I bet we get it next year. If not this year.
I can see them putting him in it this year and getting, because maybe we can talk more, but I don't see many people right now that I am thirsty or hungry for to see win the world title at WrestleMania. There's not many people. And so I think with the Elimination Chamber, you can put in a lot of your stars that you're going to be really pushing next year or post-Mania. And they can an elimination chamber lost because you got people focused on The Rock, you got people focused on Cody Rhodes, you got people focused on Roman Reigns, you got people focused on John Cena. So it's just not a year for. It's just not the year where the next generation is really going to get pushed up.
Well, this could be the year of the Weasel, though. The one who takes the opportunity. You just pointed out everybody's going to be focused on other things. There's a chance.
So the year of the it could be the year of the Money in the Bank Weasel.
It could be.
There we
It
go.
very well
That
could
is
be.
the Weaseliest tool that I know.
And
Yeah.
you know who the biggest weasel is that could have it?
who?
Dom Mysterio.
That
my
is
God.
true. Dom Mysterio.
Oh my God.
Well, first off, I'm kind of, now that you mention his name, I'm kind of excited to see him possibly come cross paths with Penta.
Mm-hmm.
Dominic
good.
Mysterio and Penta going against each other. And I want to, before we move any further, I want to hit this. Our boss brought this up. And yeah, we cannot let Penta get lost in the shuffle. I don't think that's going to happen though with Penta because his look is unique. His charisma that he has in the ring and the way he can draw a crowd, it's going to be, they are going to have to try to get him lost in the shuffle on this one. And personally, I mean, that's how I personally feel with it, just because I've been watching Penta. I know you guys have. I know you guys, especially you, Kevin, you know more about like watching him and dissecting everything he does and seeing how that works in a wrestler's mindset. Me and Grun, we just sitting, we're the guys sitting in the basement, just being like, "Oh my God, you see Penta? Oh my God, it's amazing."
Penta is incredible at. So here's the thing in wrestling under a mask. You have to be able to emote when you wrestle. You have to be able. So a lot of people do that through facial expressions, but when you have a mask on, you can't.
Yeah.
The only thing you can emote with out of your face. Now, Penta has an advantage because, and this is the same with Rey, he has an open mask at the bottom, so he can emote a little bit with his mouth. But what luchadors really emote with is their body and their eyes. Penta emotes well with his body, but boy, his eyes. He emotes everything through those things.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing. And I also, just to hit another point of why I don't think he's going to end up getting lost in the shuffle. Quick to define lost in the shuffle. Lost in the shuffle doesn't mean he's booked every week. I don't want him to get overexposed. I want him to be focused. I want him to have a storyline. I want him to have something that he can chew on, or at least getting wins that will ascend him. Doesn't even, like, if he beats Chad Gable 3 times in a row, we're probably good, and then we can move on from Chad Gable. But that's still not getting lost in the shuffle to me. Lost in the shuffle is not on the show or eating L's that he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean he doesn't eat L's. Getting buried doesn't mean you lose. Sometimes losing is the best way to get over. Look at me, IWC.
Well, and
Hey,
you're correct.
That being
too.
said, though, WWE has been looking for luchadors forever. They have been looking for the next Rey Mysterio for the last 20 goddamn years.
Yeah, they have.
No.
been.
And this is probably the closest they've been.
No, you are 100%. And I love what you're saying there because, yes, he can take L's. And if he takes L's and they do it right, when you bring in his lucha brother, it makes sense then. And then it all feeds into something. And then, the lucha bros, they just take over. I mean, that's just what happens once they combine and become Captain Planet.
Yeah.
I love where our tag team division is. Don't get me wrong. There is some fantastic talent, but there is something special with the Lucha Bros. There's just something that they have that others don't, and you want them to have a title. Trust me, fans, the first time you see these guys tag team, if you haven't seen any of it, go back to AEW. Even if you don't want to watch it, go back, watch what they're doing. And I'm telling you, you are going to be impressed with the things that you see with these guys.
And I think we're going to get a more produced and polished version of them. So in AEW, we saw them do a lot of crazy stuff that they probably didn't need to do. Rey Fenix got injured a couple times off of it.
Yeah.
I think WWE is going to be more conservative with it, but they're going to focus on their ability to work chemistry, work as a team, but still do some of those fantastical lucha things. It just might not be. I want to keep fan expectation this way because it's WWE is different than everywhere else. Just because you've seen them do all of the things doesn't mean they're going to do it all in WWE. They're going to save it and they're going to make it meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah. Shane McMahon didn't fall off a Titantron every night.
I'm saying
It was meaningful when he did.
Yeah.
He didn't get thrown through the glass at King of the Ring every night. It was meaningful when he did.
He didn't miss a flying elbow drop on Undertaker every night. It was meaningful when he did it.
It was meaningful when he did. All right, Grun, we're going to give you the last thought on Kevin's subject, and then we're going to let you take over.
Yeah, I think one thing that people need to know is that Triple H and his regime, his producers, they're not stupid. They pay attention to. They didn't just gain interest in Penta and Ray because they heard names online. Like, okay, internet says so. It's like, no, they do their research. They find out what are their strengths. Why would we bring them in? Penta, the way he moves around the ring when he's just trying to get the crowd into the right mood is. It's perfect. He is meant to be in sports entertainment. He's meant to be in WWE. He will absolutely thrive. And WWE, they're going to use them incredibly smart. This is not Vince McMahon who's going to just make them do lucha things. Okay, I mean, hell, when they initially brought CM Punk in back in 2005, they thought he was a high flyer because he was small. Well, they said, do a flip-de-do shit. Like now Penta
didn't work until they handed him a mic.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Now Penta, I wouldn't say he does flippy-do shit, but he's a luchador and he is one of the best luchadors, and that's without having to do the flippy-do shit.
He's like an Arn Anderson of luchadors for me. Like he knows how to break you down, but he's
the combination, and I think he's actually said this on interviews. He's a combination of a luchador and Muta.
Ooh. I like what you said there, Kevin, and I love what House said here. I'm actually jealous of people who are going to see Penta for the first time. Fans, that is the very first time.
That might be Annie tonight. Annie might be seeing Penta for the first time.
Oh man, if we can get an Annie reaction to Penta for the first time.
Let me see, because my first introduction to Lucha Bros was some tag team match to open up TNA in like 2015, 2016. I can't remember the year. I tuned back on. This is the first time watching TNA in a while, and like on that show I did not get it. I did not. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't the best presentation of the Lucha Bros. I didn't get it. I didn't get it until they had their debut match at Double or Nothing, or whenever it was, or maybe it was against the Young Bucks in some ladder match later, sometime that year. But it took watching them against the Young Bucks, watching them against and establish one of the best tag teams, one of the best storytellers in pro wrestling on the indies, to really see, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's why that's going to be the very first message comment from the fans that we highlight. That right there says it all in what you're about to witness for the first time with Penta in the ring. If you haven't seen it, we're jealous of you. So I hope you enjoy that cookie. Grun, is there anything you want to talk about besides the fucking Eagles?
Yes, there is something I want to talk about besides the Eagles. I actually want to talk about John Cena and the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Now this is something I am absolutely thrilled to see that John Cena is competing in the Royal Rumble. I had it on my bingo card. I put my money on it. I knew it was going to happen. I'm just glad that it was confirmed. Okay. And this is going to be interesting because I don't know, because he's probably going to be brought in late, or they're really going to make the fans eat it up and have him in like around the middle of the match. And I guess I want to pose to you guys, like, what is there is there any kind of interesting surprises or interesting things you can imagine happening in this 40-man Royal Rumble?
Was it a 40-man this year? I didn't hear that announcement.
Yeah,
It's a 40 man.
Oh my
40
God.
woman too,
Put it
right?
in my veins.
Is it 40 woman? The women's is 40
yes.
also.
Yeah. Men and women are both 40.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin.
I'm so excited now.
I'm so
always
glad.
excited for the Rumble. but-
Yeah, I mean that is an exciting element to it.
Oh yeah.
Well, they have the big enough roster to do it because when they did
Definitely.
the original 40-man Rumble in 2011, maybe it was a little bit later. I don't remember. So
It
one
was
that Del
a little,
Rio
yeah.
won.
Yes, it was that one.
But that one felt like it didn't feel like they had the people for it.
Yeah.
But in last year, what we learned, and probably the year before it a little bit, is WWE has so many stars that they have to feature. They didn't have room for surprises.
Yeah, you're right.
So
Yeah.
if we make it a 40-man, well, we can feature a couple more people and surprises. And I don't think people are going to be mad about adding on an extra couple people when they have the depth of roster.
Exactly.
But all of that being said, if I were to book the Rumble, this is fantasy booking, just like a cool thing that we could do. Cena's whole thing right now is he has to earn it. He has to be able to do it. So what if Cena, for some reason, is number 1 or 2?
That would be insane.
It would be.
And then he goes all the way the distance just to lose.
Oh,
Think of the heartbreak. Think of the story. Think of everything we can do with that. There are so many opportunities, and we can watch Grun cry again.
I
So
know.
there's also that.
I would have you save those tears, Grun. Put them in a little vial and ship them to me.
Because, like, that's the overarching story for this year is, can John Cena do it? Can John Cena break the record? Can John Cena win the world title again? Does he still have it? Is his time still now? Because in the Rumble, this is just the beginning of it. If he wins that Rumble and he gets a shot at Mania, like, you could still run the program.
Mhm.
You could still have him do that, but I don't think it's got as much meat on the bones if you do. I don't think him winning that Rumble is necessary.
No, I mean he's my prediction. That's
And
that's
it's a
who
fair
I want.
prediction because I can see it still happening. And that's good. I want to be able to see something happen with plenty of people.
But
Him
what,
and like Roman are my front runners right now.
what you
and they're
just
the only
drew
two that
up,
are-
though, Kevin. I mean it surpasses any of that, because to see the heartache of the fans who love John Cena, to see them get so down, to see him have to shake his head to tell them I'm sorry, you know,
Mhm.
and then to maybe the next big one he loses also, and then
He'll
you're
be in the
there.
Elimination Chamber at that point, and he can
Mhm.
lose that. He can be one of the last two and lose that. And that match, he can get screwed over by somebody, and that can set up his Mania match.
Grun, since
Yeah.
you're the Cena connoisseur, I'm not gonna say anything mean to you, Grun. I like
Okay.
you too much. I mean, Nick's he's busting our balls.
Yeah,
in this.
yeah.
He wants us to all go on a 3 versus 3 challenge. I like my beard, and I don't
No,
think I could
I
put it up on
absolutely
the
will
line.
not put my beard on the line.
Yeah,
No.
sorry,
There's no
Nick.
way.
I
I haven't seen my full unshaven face since high school, and I don't intend to start now.
Last time I
Well-
really shaved my face, one of my favorite aunts said, "Oh, I know why you have facial hair. You got a butt chin." And I never shaved it. She really made
Oh,
she was
geez.
So
laughing hysterically on the way home. So yeah. So that's.
But yeah,
that's-
as far as the Rumble and John Cena, I think there's a lot of different avenues we can go from that.
very
Mhm.
true.
I like the idea of him being number 1 and going from there, but you can also, with the surprises, this is John Cena's retirement tour, essentially. Why don't we bring some of John Cena's ghosts back for the
I
Rumble?
like it.
Yeah.
I really like that idea because we have 40 that we can play in.
And
I
you
mean-
can dedicate 2 to 3 of those just to Cena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Bru-
and it doesn't have
where's
to be
Bull Buchanan, Ben? Is he still he's still around?
Maybe.
Bull
B
Buchanan.
Squad out.
Good Lord.
Ugh.
Well, we know. I don't think Kurt can jump in there. And I know
No, he.
your arch enemy. He's your Lex Luthor. Even when he shaved his head, he became even more Lex Luthor for you.
Mhm.
But
Edge is
Kurt,
out of the question.
Kurt
You're
Angle
gonna
is
have a
the-
Punk and Cena showdown at
Yeah,
some point during
You have
it.
to.
Yeah,
You're
that
gonna have
that
a
has
Roman
to be.
Cena.
You got to have
Like-
Roman Cena. You definitely have to have Randy Cena.
Yup.
I
And
wonder.
Randy, I imagine they hold off to return at the Rumble in some
I can see that.
capacity.
Yeah.
I could see them waiting late mid, like around 20. Since we're doing
Yeah.
40, I would say halfway. Halfway, you
Mhm.
bring in Randy Orton. You wouldn't want to bring him in too early,
No.
but how far do you have him go? I mean,
I don't think you need to have him go that far.
That's what I
was kinda
mid
thinking.
20s. Give him a nice showing. Give him a couple eliminations. He gets eliminated after like 35 comes in or something by whoever he's going to face at Mania.
I like it. I could go that route. I
Unless you
like
want to
that.
run, depending on who you have win again. I have no idea who they're going to have win this year. I don't really.
Yeah.
Again, my front runners are Roman and Cena, but that's mostly because I want to point at the people who give me the best chance.
Yeah.
We'll start
I-
knowing more when we lead up to it.
Yeah,
But-
and
hmm
that's a good way to go about it for right now. I mean, until we get a little closer to Rumble. I know there's a lot of speculation going on right now, especially with the placement of Cena. Where is he going to be in this? And are they going to milk everything they possibly can? And if they do, a Cena loss, but a really strong effort goes a long
Yeah, it
way,
does.
especially with the fans.
Mhm.
And I think that's where I'm getting steered more towards now. And I don't want him to win. I want him to be an early guy. I want him to be in, I'm going to say it, top 5, at least in the first 5. Get him in there, have him
Just because
till
there's 40 and I don't know what his cardio is like these days, I'll say top 10.
Yeah.
top 10. Okay. Yeah. No, that's a
But I
fair
would still
thing.
give him a great run.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you take him out in the last 5?
I would go
Yeah.
so far as last 4.
Last 4. Okay. Yeah.
I want him to have that final 4 picture so that when he goes out, I want it to be a lot like that HBK trying to get to Taker, clawing, trying to get there, doing everything he can, and then like he just loses grip of the rope and
Yeah.
then
Well,
he just falls. Something like that. Like it's not just like Roman yeeting him out of the Rumble. Like
Gotcha.
I don't
Right.
want that.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make any sense, honestly.
No.
I mean, for Roman to do that to a guy, yeah, if you brought in Nunzio, I could understand that. But for John Cena,
Have
But I
Dom
think-
eliminate Cena.
Kevin, we have the ultimate
Oh.
tool right now that we can use to tell the future of what would be more devastating. Grun, what would make you feel the worst? What would make you just like so sad?
You know, I think the thing that would make me the most sad is if at the Rumble number 39 or 40, Cena's still in, and we get 39 or 40, and it's one of the last 4 men, and it's Brock Lesnar, and he's the one that crushes John Cena's chances. Because you talk about demons, you talk about ghosts from his past. Brock Lesnar is a big ghost.
Yeah. And
You know
we
who else is? The Rock.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I-
it is.
I feel that they're throwing curveballs at us with The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
There's just something about the way he's
I don't believe
presenting
it.
himself.
I don't
yeah,
believe it for a
I'm
second.
with you. I'm with you, Kevin. I do not believe it one bit. I think he's going to be at all these things, and it's going to be a weird year in a sense that
Mhm.
we're going to relive a lot of nostalgia this year, and it's going to make sense. It's not
Yes.
going to be just shoved in our faces like Schmogan. We're just
Mhm.
we're gonna actually be able to digest it and enjoy the story that is being told I mean, this is ultimately Grun, and I know I don't want you crying right now, but this is the final chapter in the book of Cena
It is.
when it comes to this in-ring thing.
It is. It definitely is. And if you really look at the landscape, like it could not be a more perfect year because, yeah, there are a lot of exciting things to see. Roxanne Perez and Trick Williams are most likely making their debuts at the Rumble. Braun Breaker has been an absolute beast. Ludwig Kaiser has been coming to his own. Tiffany Stratton, like we have a lot of great stars that are ready for that next level, but the fans don't. But at least the arena fans, they don't know how good these people really are just yet. We have our theories, we have our predictions, and they're pretty high, but we're confident that they're going to hit those predictions and then exceed them. But because this is a good year because the focus is going to be on Cena. And so you can take the time to really develop them, perfect them while they don't need to be in that big, bright spotlight. You can mold them and perfect them at a lower stage because the fans, at least the arena fans' expectations are going to be a little bit lower than what they normally would be.
I love that. Kevin, we are going to give you the final thought on that. Go ahead, let us know.
Man. It is weird. It is weird to have Cena have his last year, but I'm glad we know. I'm glad we know it's a whole tour and that he's going to be here for a lot of it because there's a lot of guys that I really want to see him work with, and I know he wants to work with on his way out, whether that be new guys, old guys. I imagine a lot of his PLE matches are going to be nostalgia based with a couple that are up and comers. We probably get Cena Braun Breaker. We probably get if Lesnar comes back, we're getting Cena Lesnar. Punk Cena has to happen. Orton Cena has to happen. Like there's a lot of these. It could be an interesting way to bring Cena back up to the picture for him to exercise his old demons in those nostalgia matches. So he essentially goes through the first part of the year and loses until finally he starts exercising those demons from the past that are around, where he starts beating Orton. He beats CM Punk. He beats, Brock Lesnar. He beats all these people all the way up until he gets to whoever is holding the world title. And boy, it had better be someone from his past there too, because I think that's the good matchup that you want to have him win on. If you're going to give him the title, because again, there is no guarantee to that either. I am excited for this tour. I think Cena captivates an audience like we haven't seen from someone possibly ever, in a way that he can drive people to love him, hate him, but they still respected him and reacted. It just didn't matter. I don't really have much other thoughts, but man, I'm excited for this year when it comes to John Cena.
Awesome. I love to hear it. I love to hear the pure human emotion coming out of you with that, because you spoke a lot of truth in that. And it is, even as a guy who was not a Cena fan, I will say that this is going to be a tour to remember. And it's awesome. Speaking of that, though, fans, we are 6 minutes away from you going live with Raw on Netflix. So get your channels ready if you're not already, and get ready to listen to where you can find my fantastic co-host. Go ahead, Grun, let them know where they can see those blue eyes of villainous.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Grunmeister, where I'll be streaming a lot more, be playing a lot more Marvel Rivals as I work to get to Gold 3, because Kevin, I don't know if you heard this announcement, but we are, me, Lou, and a bunch of other people from the Buddies community, we have registered and signed up for Marvel Rivals tournaments. Yes. Okay. So we're officially in it. However, we do have the challenge of getting to Gold 3 by March, sometime in March. Okay. So we had to step up our gaming. We got to step up our ability. We got to just be the best we can be. Hustle, loyalty, respect, HLR, never give up.
Trust your instincts. Oh, sorry, that's
This-
the wrong thing.
This year is going to be like pissing
Sorry, that's
on
Star
an
Fox.
electric fence. Kevin, let them know where they can see you and all your chaos you create.
Well, you can find me right here for Window Lickers. I have some select dates coming up. I'm out at Frontline Pro all through the year. If you see a Bakersville show, I am at it. I'm also at EverCon coming up in February. Let's see here. We just had a great show for Divine. Whenever Divine comes back, it's an all-women's promotion here in Michigan. I help agent and consult for it. Incredible production. It's only getting better every time. We've only had 2 shows, but both of them have been great. Back to front, in my opinion. You catch me on the Dear Pro Wrestling podcast with my boy P and one of my besties, Ray Larson. And that is about it these days.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is fantastic, guys. You guys are out there doing your thing. I know the Rivals is going on in Marvel World over on the Buddies. And Kevin, you should really join those guys. I joined their Discord.
Oh, we're not very good.
No, I don't even play the game. I just sit in the Discord when they're playing and just listen to them and talk and have fun and play my own game. But yeah, it's a fun time over there with the Lou and all the buddies. And of course, friends, this is in your house. This is a place where we're getting bigger and bigger by the moment. We have a docuseries coming up for the Royal Rumble. It's going to be a spectacular event. There's going to be a lot of motion going down in Indianapolis, and In Your House is going to be a part of it, and they're going to capture it. So stay tuned for that. It will be dropping whenever we get it done. You know, we got to wait for the Rumble. We got to wait for things, editing, things like that. But in the meantime, you can catch me here, just like Kevin Calloway said, on the Monday night review show where we talk about Raw. It's the Window Lickers. It's me, the Chaos Goblin, and the Blue-Eyed Villain, and we talk Raw 7 p.m. every Monday. So come join us. It's been a blast so far. We thank you all for in the comments. But if that's not enough on Monday, I'm here on Friday with House, and we go extreme. We talk ECW Hardcore TV, and we follow the story. So come join me and House and break down some ECW extreme action. And then on Sundays, you can catch who's ever a part of the house party, who's ever, kicking around from the party before, waking up, getting ready to talk wrestling. You can come and find us, and it's a spectacular time. It's usually a little lunch kickoff. Eat your little club sandwiches and listen to the In Your House crew talk. And every other week, you can kind of find me doing some conspiracy stuff on a Saturday with my homie Viking Storm, his fiance Luna, and we talk crazy shit. So come join us, come have some fun, be a window licker, and join us on the Conspiracies at Sea. And fans, there is so much more that In Your House brings to you. So come check us out, like, subscribe, be a part of it, and keep joining us here because we will keep those windows clean. So until the next time, keep watching Raw and keep tuning in to In Your House.